Hello everyone. Thanks for joining this session. I hope you had a good lunch. If you're feeling sleepy, let me know. My idea is not to wake you up. My idea is to bore you to sleep again. Okay, because that's what data and metrics does to a lot of people. Okay, as a way of introducing ourselves, my name is Ravi Poruri. I'm the head of BI and data at Dropbox. And as a co-presenter, I have Chetna Bail, who's a BI manager in my team at Dropbox. So first, let's start off with how many of you have heard or used Dropbox? Wow, that's pretty large audience. How many of you understand what Dropbox is all about beyond the consumer storage space? That's good. Only one person understands, which means I have a very relevant content out here.
Starting to doubt whether I do.
Okay. So today's session, we're going to cover a broad range of topics. One of the things which I intended to cover was also to introduce what Dropbox is. At what scale do we operate? A lot of people use Dropbox. We have a heavy consumer ecosystem, but Dropbox goes beyond that. A lot of people don't hear us when it comes to scale, data, and insights. Okay. So as you can see, internally Dropbox, we believe Dropbox is a global collaboration ecosystem. We play a heavy role in how teams, individuals, and people collaborate with each other. It's not just upload your photos and leave it. That's one use case. But we are also heavily involved in the teams and collaboration space. We are a global company. We are across the world. We have over 500 million users on the platform today. I cannot quote the exact numbers due to obvious we are a public company, but over 500 million, we operate at a scale very few companies see. We have over an exabyte of content sitting in Dropbox, an exabyte. And we went public last year, so it's fairly 12 years old company. We are a millennial company. We run on the cloud. We are a hybrid stack. We heavily leverage AWS, but we also have our own data centers. And from a corporate side, we are spread across 12 offices. We make over $1 billion revenue. I think as of last week, we were close to about $1.4, $1.5 billion. So we're no longer a startup company. We're not a small company. We are a mid-sized, moving into the large enterprise space. So where does this money come from? Have you ever wondered? Some of you pay, some of you, if it's me, I don't pay. I signed up on Dropbox as a free user. But there is still money flowing in. There is still revenue flowing in. Where does it come from? As you can see, we are a B2C and a B2B product. So which means while a lot of users for Dropbox storage, content upload, we are also spread across over 300,000 teams worldwide who use us for Dropbox native capabilities in terms of collaborating between individuals within the teams. We have functionalities where you can leverage or open a content doc without actually installing something like a Microsoft Word or an Adobe Design. Dropbox natively recognizes the content and you can start using it. So that's where our focus and growth is, and that's where we also heavily rely on our revenue resources. Apart from a lot of individuals, we are heavily dominant in the professional space. Photographers, designers, construction workers, bankers, a lot of people use it. One of Bay Area's and world's largest social network also leverages Dropbox internally. So that's a business about Dropbox. Sometime about 2 months ago, for a longest time, as far as I remember, back in 2007 is when I signed up for Dropbox. It was for my photos upload. I've always realized that Dropbox never comes into the front experience, your desktop experience, your mobile experience. People don't open Dropbox on a daily basis. So we have consciously tried to emerge out of the backend to the foreground experience in the last 6 months to 1 year. And to do that, what we introduced something called Dropbox Basis. Okay, and Dropbox Basis is a more of a foreground experience where you collaborate with a lot of different people, friends, family, wherever it is. Now, all this is powered through insights. When you're operating at a scale of an exabyte, when you have 500 million plus users, when you have close to 22 petabytes sitting in your analytics ecosystem, generating insights out of that is like a needle in a haystack problem. And that's where me and my team, we have been powering business intelligence and analytics. How that's done, I'm not a specialist out there. At some point I had a broad vision, but Chetna has been running that show. I'm going to hand it off to her, and she's going to go through that journey of how she's evolved BI and analytics forward.
Thank you, Ravi. So now that we know the business that Dropbox is in, and we realize that we have to generate insights at the scale of Dropbox, we had to set up a business intelligence ecosystem that matched that. So in order to do that, let's take a step back. Before this BI ecosystem was set up, our analysts were running manual queries. They would run queries on a Hive or a Hadoop environment, export that information. It would take hours to run those queries. You would take that information out into an Excel file, do your pivoting, create your charts, copy and paste that information into a presentation layer, and then you would be ready to share that with your end users. So what does that mean? It's the most you would get your business intelligence once a week if you've got very efficient analysts. And I'm sure a lot of you have experienced this. I can see some knowing smiles around the audience. And so our first step with creating the BI ecosystem was to get rid of those manual processes, make it more automated. So this is a bird's eye view of the system. It's highly simplified, but the idea behind this was get as close to the source as possible. Get your visualization there, you get ownership with that, you get your lineage, and you can govern what that content is and where is it coming from. So here in this diagram, you can see that we have data sources, which could be a SaaS application. So in Dropbox, that's usually a Salesforce or a Workday or a Zendesk. And in addition to that, you could also have an on-prem application, something that's been built in-house. Now that data is ingested into a data warehouse, and in our case, that's Snowflake. And then that is then used for the visualization layer. So great, things are looking great, all good. But then let's take a step back from this before the time. Now keep that diagram in mind. Now we just take metric insights out of that picture. It's great, everybody is onboarding with Tableau. Tableau has very good capabilities in terms of visualization. Everyone's creating very good dashboards. We've taken out some of that manual aspect of it by automating a lot of the reporting tasks. And so all good, right? We got 1,000 plus active users. Fantastic, everything is going great. But then we realized that our analysts were still going out, taking their Tableau dashboards, creating some manual queries, pulling that information, and putting it into this place where they can add their content, their commentary, and then present it to our executives and stakeholders. So wait a minute. So we have not really automated all of this. We are still having a lot of manual tasks, and people are still taking the time to produce their insights. So at that time, we started looking at what are some of those challenges. And here are the 4 buckets under which these challenges were placed. So first challenge was people still had information and insights locked in various applications and tools. So right now, it is a case of democracy of having any tool and any application. And you can't stop your user from doing that. And so all of this insight was then trapped in those application and tools, so people were having to pull this information from various places. The second thing was users did not know which of that content was accurate and trustworthy. So how do I know if I'm publishing some information? Should I actually be using this metric, this dashboard? Is it certified? Has it gone through a governance process? Thirdly, users were wanting their data to be personalized. We hear about Netflix recommendations, right? That's been the thing that's been part of Tableau conference. Everyone wants their content to learn from them and be presented the way they want it. They wanted this collated, put in one place, and personalized to their needs. And finally, we had our analysts talking about being more proactive, right? The traditional BI space was we would just react to the data, look at historical information, great, how do we do? Good, bad, move on, right? So now people want to see, hey, what happened? Am I looking at anomalies real time? Am I looking at what happened in terms of the exceptions? Are there critical events being surfaced? I want to be proactive. I want to let my executives know. And this is where, now that we have the context, we know that Metric Insights was what we chose in order to solve these challenges. And the reason why we chose Metric Insights is Metric Insights is a push intelligence platform. And the way they dealt with these challenges was a three-pronged strategy. So the first thing they did was they have a layer on top of your applications, tools, you name it, right? So you have data connectors, which is agnostic to where the data comes from. Secondly, they provide you the ability to enrich that content. So you want good content to be produced for your executives so that they can be more proactive. So you want high quality data. You want to know when there are patterns you need to react to, and to be able to produce any kind of commentary or fix that data. Third thing is, we heard the users on the challenge of, I want that content to be brought to me. I don't want to go find that content. So Metric Insights does that by delivering that content to the users where they are. And let me go into the capabilities a little more. So with the metrics and KPIs capabilities in Metric Insights, Metric Insights provides out-of-the-box connectors. What it does is it has a lot of connectors, right? So Dropbox has Snowflake, it has Salesforce, we have Zendesk, we have Jira. We have all these various places where there are analytics being generated. So Metric Insights allows you to connect to any of those and get that information. It also allows you to do some simple use cases around time series data. So if you're a user who does not want to do Tableau, but you want to do like a quick exploration, you can get your KPIs across time just to look for trends. And finally, it also lets you discover what anomalies are in your metrics so that you can stay on top of seeing what are those patterns, what are those critical events, when should I act on what I'm seeing with my trends. And I'm just going to animate it all. So with this, with the exception and change reports, Metric Insights address the challenge of getting proactive with your data. What that meant is you could now look at your data sets, complex data sets in Tableau. Say you have many filters, and you want to look for a certain pattern, right? So for example, you want to see, hey, which of my products sold more than 100 units? Give me every combination of country, channel, whatever you have set up in your Tableau dashboards or any such data set. So what that allows you is it takes the complexity out and then draws out those patterns for you. With regards to change reports, what Metric Insights provides is a way for you to be able to tell what the difference is from a previous period. Similarly, just telling you what the changes are in your data set. This could be useful in a snapshotting kind of experience. If you think of finance, they'd like to know what it was on that particular day or how it changed over time. And then finally, with statistical reports, you can use statistical functions to find out your outliers. What that means is if I want to see how my data is doing against, say, 2 standard deviations, or I want to look at the 30-day moving average and see how I'm doing against that. That is something that is provided right out of the box and something that's really easy to use and set up. With the portal, Metric Insights address the need to collate that information in one place that was relevant to your needs. So you could personalize your content, You could pick what you want to see, and it's your portal servicing your needs. In addition to that, our users talked about being able to organize their content. It's like, I got all these dashboards, I got all this information, but I want it in an organized fashion where I can get those insights really quickly. And the way Metric Insights did that is it allows users to tag your content, because you know best what your content signifies, and you should be allowed to tag your content to make it more searchable. With governed content, Metric Insights allowed for metrics and other dashboards to be certified. So it would show whether its content is certified or not, which would address the fact of what is trustworthy, what is accurate, what should I be using. And finally, making this just basically very easy to search and discover your information. In the case of getting your data delivered where you are and also making it more proactive and more relevant, with the alerts and distribution capability, Metric Insights, the first thing that they did was you could create landing pages. So you could actually have a sales landing page or an IT landing page, where only the relevant metrics, the relevant dashboards would then be collated and provided. And this is something that you could standardize within the business unit. The next thing was emails. So our executives do not like going on a Tableau or going into a portal. They want that content to be delivered to them. Now, email was a way we could get the content that was relevant to them and then have that delivered to their inboxes so they don't need to go anywhere. With the alerts, our analysts love this. So they could set up our metrics and our dashboards to look for patterns. It's like, hey, tell me when my metric goes above 50%. I don't expect that. So I want to be told that so it's doesn't go down to the reporting and doesn't reach my executives before I'm told that this pattern has happened, so I can do the right amount of research or annotate that information if that's truly a pattern. With mobile, Metric Insights made sure that that data is available on the move, where you are, to your device. And finally, with collaboration, Metric Insights has a Slack integration where you could be in a conversation making a decision, and you can now have your metrics and your information as part of that conversation. So it's right where you are taking the decision. Now let me switch over to the demonstration. All right. So typically this is the first page that you would come to if you're a Dropbox employee. You would see your portal page, and this, because I'm an admin, I have a lot of things I can see, and here are my set of favorites that is my homepage, right? So I get to see what I'm interested in. But you can also see that there is content from a Tableau dashboard, as well as content from other data sources. Now with regards to the search and tagging, I can look for content that's relevant to me. I am now a sales persona, so I'm going to go in and look for my sales data. Great, I get to see what tiles are relevant to my sales data. I get to see my dashboards, I get to see my metrics. And now I can go a step further to seeing if I can find all my certified content. So in my filter, I have all the content that is certified. If you see here, there's a little green check mark here that tells me that this content, of all the content on my portal, I can rely on. And then when you look at embedded content, so this is typically the experience if you have a Tableau dashboard embedded into your portal. So here's a Tableau dashboard. I'm in here interacting with it from within Metric Insights. And if I want to customize this view and have my default view show the content that is personalized for me, and this is the content that I'm interested in, this could be my default when I come into the portal and when I click on my Tableau dashboard. With regards to KPIs, So here's a KPI trending over time. And I can see that some of the analysis is already available on the KPI. So I can see what my percentage change has been, what's the 30-day average, max, min. So I get all of that analysis right off the bat. Now, if I want to go further, I can click into my KPI and look at some of the statistical outliers. So here's one that's falling out of my two standard deviations. And if I want to do more analysis, I could also find the Tableau dashboard that is connected to this KPI. And now it's sending the context of where that pattern happened, and then also filtering my Tableau dashboard to show me where the analysis is. An example of an exception report. Now this is where I have set up a Tableau dashboard with looking for a 50% drop in KPI. So I'm looking for any combination. So I have these filters. I have country, channel, product, category, and product. And I'm looking for when are the times that there has been a 50% drop in that KPI over the previous day. And so it's found me every combination of those values, which would be a very cumbersome task to try to do yourself. So if I clicked on any of these, I would have the Tableau dashboard then filter for that and show me all the other information that came with that exception. Now I could subscribe to this through an email. And if you see here, it's like users have been given the power to set up what subscriptions they want to do, and just like Tableau. And also you can have this set up as an email burst, and that can collate all of the content that you have set up either through your favorites. So it's content that is personalized that can then be put in a burst and delivered to you. So this is an example of an email template that's right out of the box. So this is taking all the information from my favorites folder and sending me a daily email. So here's an example of, it's telling me what the top movers are, what the prior value was, what's the change. So on a daily basis, I could be tracking my metrics and also getting all the dashboards and all the exception reports related to the metrics that I'm tracking. And this usually it delighted our executives. They just loved the fact that we had all this information. It was rich in everything they needed to do, and they could actually have that content personalized. Finally, with the landing pages, like I was saying, you can personalize this content to the business unit that you're providing this content to. So this is something that, hey, this particular unit is interested in Zendesk tickets, trials, and finance data. And so you can see this has been customized. It has some of the pretty pictures, and you can go in here, look for anything that generated exceptions. So you can add some commentary to it. And then I can also see some metric insights charts and dashboards associated with this. So that's great. At this point, I'm going to hand this back to Ravi to give us the final thoughts and the vision and key takeaways.
Thank you, Chetna.
Yeah, you can move.
Which one is it?
It's fine. It's fine. Just move it ahead.
Here?
Yeah. Just move it ahead on this. Yes.
So you heard Chetna talk about how we are evolving our ecosystem. So one of the things which, I think is very common to all of us is a proliferation of tools, information. We live in a data age. We generate data at a phenomenal pace. At Dropbox, we have more than 500 plus SaaS applications. You can just imagine what goes into an end user, end analyst, end executive. Like when they have to search and stitch together something to make sense, it's like effort of manual work efforts on SQL, proliferation of tools, doesn't work out. So in our vision, where do I see BI evolving, right? One is, given what we see at Dropbox, we need some place to bring that information back to the user, not the user chasing the information across the tools. So that's one reason why Metric Insights was a key piece of investment. Tableau was phenomenal, but we knew that Tableau was able to address one use case, which was not specific to Dropbox in this case, where you had Google spreadsheets, our own paper, Dropbox paper, you have Excels, you have Salesforce reports, everything had to come together. So that is part of where we are heading. Many sources, 500, tomorrow it could be 1,000. Next year, most likely it'll be 1,500 applications. Sitting in cloud, everything is a freemium. People can take out a credit card, sign up, and you suddenly have data proliferation. Bring that back. Distributing personalized, Chetna talked about it. Netflix recommendation. If information is not personalized, you just have an information overload. There's a lot of data. Starting off the presentation, I said, I can bore you till you sleep with data and metrics and insights, or I can make it very personalized to you where it actually helps you be more productive. Mobile and Slack, who doesn't like it? Like, I practically wake up, the first thing I do is check my stock prices. Okay, I'm sure all of us do it. News, sports, whatever it is. I think information needs to still flow, and it needs to flow through the collaboration tools you are using. And tomorrow, whether we're using it at Dropbox or in your own ecosystem, that's a key part. So in a sense, to wrap it up, easy to find, insights at your fingertips, and anomalies, things which are relevant, which you pay attention to, not the entire stack of data and information, things which are important. If you are interested in a 50% drop, that's what should come into your fingertips, not, hey, look at this 500 reports and figure out whether you have a needle in a haystack. So with that, I'm going to call it a wrap for this presentation. Thank you all for joining us, and I'll open it up for any Q&A.